Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Gridiron Gallery. I'm your host, Zach Kyleman, in as always. Today we have another very special guest joining the show, one that many of you St. Louis Battlehawk fans might remember fondly for scoring one of the most iconic touchdowns in XFL history, and for hopefully many more to come elsewhere. It is Joe Powell joining us today. Joe, happy that you joined the show. Really, I appreciate you taking the time out to be on here. How are you holding up, man? How's it going for you?
No problem. I appreciate you having me. But everything been good. Just trying to figure things out during this pandemic that's going on as far as with life and future football career. But other than that, everything's been fine with me and my family. And thankfully, ain't nobody been exposed with the coronavirus. So that's a blessing right there. So, just taking it day by day, seeing how life is going to move forward.
Yeah, thank goodness. I'm glad to hear your family's doing well. Glad you've been able to, hang on. And, we're definitely going to get into plenty of your football adventures. And we'll also touch on, of course, what your path is moving forward. Because I'm quite curious. And, of course, I think many people are curious, too, where you're going to be heading come next year. And, of course, you have options, as we have seen. Let's get things started. Every player I've brought on here, I always like to hear about their story, their upbringing into football, what got them into the sport in the first place. I find that these stories of athletes themselves are very entertaining and can obviously have very different avenues for any different person. So, Joe, I got to ask you, where did your football journey begin?
It started off in high school, my freshman year. I didn't play Little League or my last year of middle school. The year after that, that's when they brought middle school football in. So I didn't start playing football until my 9th grade year. It was me and one of my cousins. We was thinking about it. We was training for it all summer. And then we went out and just went out and tried out for the team. We made the team, and then that's how my football journey started.
Oh, nice. When did you end up coming in contact, or what offers anything in between like that as you get going towards your college or junior college playtime?
I had only one offer coming out of high school, and that was Virginia University of Lynchburg, and that was only because my grades wasn't the best. So, I only had one offer coming out of high school. I played wide receiver there for a year. And then that's when I had left there because I didn't like how the school was ran and things like that. So that's when I took the JUCO route. Went to New York. I went to 2 junior colleges within probably 3 to 4 months. The first college I went to was ASA Junior College. That was in Brooklyn. Yeah, that was in Brooklyn, New York. And then that's when I had left there and went to Globe Tech. And that was in Manhattan. And that's how basically my college journey was. And I had to leave there in December of 2013. Yeah, I was there in December 2013. And that's when my college journey ended.
Wow, all right. I actually did not know about your first junior college experience. I knew about Globe Institute of Technology, at least, so I appreciate appreciate filling in there. So you played on the junior college level, which I don't think as many football fans know about. I know that there's plenty of colleges that have a football team on the lower levels. Everyone, I think, knows D2 or NAIA schools as well. What is the jump from a junior college setting of football, whether it's maybe just the atmosphere of the fans or just the style and talent of play, going to something like, say, more of the upper minor league or higher levels of football that you jumped into when you went into arena football?
For me, I didn't think it was a difference. It was just me going out there doing something that I like to do, which was play football. So I trained very, very hard. So at the end of the day, football is just going to be football. It's just learning the little small details of coming from outdoor football to indoor football. I mean, when I was at Globe Tech, it was fairly, I'm going to be honest, it was fairly easy. only because of the want to that I had to do what I wanted to do and get what I wanted to get done. And then, going to arena football, it was just me being an athlete. They throw the ball 95% of the time, so it was just me going being a ball hawk because I wasn't always a DB. A lot of people don't know that. Me, honestly, receiver is my main position in my eyes because that's what I always done all my life. And the crazy thing is, when I got to Globe Tech, I had went over to defense because their offense was entirely too hard for me to understand, for me to get to play. So I said, forget it. I'm just going to go to defense.
Okay.
I'm going to play. And then, honestly, I shocked myself. I honestly shocked my family, too, because in high school, I wasn't, like, the type of player that I was when I went to Globe. Like, when I went to Globe, I was a hitter. Just a straight hitter.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any interceptions. I was just around the ball all the time, making tackles. So, once I got to arena, I was able to showcase it all. I was able to hit. I was able to go get the ball, catch interceptions, and I was able to score at the same time. So it just all worked out in a good way, being that, coming from outdoor and then going from indoor, which is a smaller field, 50 yards. It's just being an athlete at the end of the day.
Fair enough. And you did kind of segue into one of my questions I wanted to ask was, what are the adjustments for the indoor game as the outdoor game for yourself, specifically on the defensive side of the ball? That's one side I think that, with a higher scoring, I feel that's something you have to adjust to. It's saying, like, reset yourself mentally for a play. I don't know if you experienced that or maybe anything else that you had that you noticed beyond what you just mentioned.
Well, as far as for indoor defensively, like as a DB, you're going to get scored on. It's arena football. It's 3 DBs and it's 3 wide receivers, so you're going to get scored on. So you really have to have a short-term memory to the point where, like, okay, I got scored on next play, because you never know. They could get an onside kick and recover, and then we back on the field right then and there. So you just can't dwell on you getting scored on, because then you're going to be beating yourself down mentally. And that was just the difference with defense in arena. Is just, the game is a lot quicker. The angles is different. You just got to understand the little small details within arena football, as far as where you lined up at, how you're lined up, and just the way that the team want to attack you, knowing that there's not a lot of things that you could do indoor, so it's going to be easier for offenses to study your game, as far as if you're going against a veteran quarterback or great coaches. So just got to nitpick what you do, what's your strengths and weaknesses, and take advantage of it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's obviously, that is something that you have to consider, I think, or that I've noticed, especially when it comes to some other players, or you switching positions in particular. And I don't think many people realize that you were a receiver. I mean, many of us, at least in the lower level football communities, definitely know you as a defensive positioned player in particular, strong safety, defensive back. But I can understand that change or move to fit a need. Focusing on kind of just after your arena days, your first stint in arena leagues, you did finally end up on an NFL roster, rosters at one point between 2016 and 17. Both New York teams actually, and a tryout with Philadelphia as well. Just for those listening at home, what is the process of going through a summer training camp, like a quick sign to sign onto a roster, or being a practice squad member?
It's just a daily grind. It's not like it's not a normal day like it, as if it's a 9 to 5. It's a constant grind. Even when you're done at the day at the facility, you still have to study. You still have to do the little things, not just on the field or at the facility, but when nobody's watching. And it was tough, coming from no big college experience, and then I'm just jumping into the NFL, and it was an honor and a blessing to be there. But the ground was different. It's not nothing normal that somebody will go through every day. It's constant, just straight football from 5 in the morning to sometimes 6 in the afternoon.
Dang.
And it was just a grind. It's nothing more you can say because it's just a grind, like a long grind that you just got to put yourself through. And so you got to be mentally tough and mentally strong to be able to get through an NFL camp, especially like during training camp, because it's 90 people. You're trying to fight to get on the 53-man roster, and every day you got to go forward. You can't take a step back. You can't be the same. You always got to get better each and every day. So
yeah.
That was just the biggest thing with the NFL, in my opinion.
Fair enough. I understand, and we just recently had cut-down days for the XFL, so we get to see a lot of these guys that are trying to maintain the rosters and obviously looking at practice squads themselves. And I can understand completely what you're trying to go through when you're keeping on these teams. Something else I imagine you had to put up with, and this is something that I think is nuts in general for just moving around, relocation. Thinking about this, he had both Buffalo and New York, of course, with the Giants, or at least New Rutherford, New Jersey. And you've also, of course, been to many other places in several other leagues. How do you keep yourself physically and mentally ready while also having to consider relocation at certain different times in your career?
Well, honestly, it's my lady. She helps a lot, with just keeping me at ease when it comes down to trying to, involve life, and then with football, she does a lot of, I'll say, the life work as far as, maintaining the bills, seeing if we do have to go somewhere, just game planning ahead instead of being shocked with some type of bad news or anything. So she has been a big help within the journey. And I come from a city of Portsmouth, Virginia, where it's like you have to be a strong-minded person to come out of that city, or just living in that city, period. Not the best area, but, I love my city to death, and it made me a mentally tough person. So anything that goes on as far as with football, I can handle it, because not just coming from that city, is my journey alone. I've had to deal with a lot of ups and downs, a lot of obstacles, as far as when I was in JUCO, I was, living off $60 every 2 weeks, or I was almost homeless at one point, so it's like I've been through a lot to prepare me for a lot of situations within life. So, just being able to have a significant other on your side that pushes you every day and be able to help you, not with just life, but with football also, it's a big stepping stone for me. So, that's really how I was able to cope and handle things outside of football and traveling and things like that.
Well, cheers to that. I'm happy for you and your family. Happy you have a great relationship with your wife as well, and that she's able to help you out through these times. That's awesome to hear. Yeah. I love hearing that. I'm gonna skip a little bit forward, but I do want to touch on, because a lot of people obviously loved your play with Baltimore, the both stints you had. What I guess was there anything different between your first stint in the Arena Football League with Cleveland versus when you came back, when you went to Baltimore after your time with the Buffalo Bills?
Was there a difference?
Maybe just like anything with the league change, or just the culture in Baltimore when it comes to arena football.
As far as Cleveland, I was honestly off of natural raw talent. I had a great DB coach, and he taught the game well. It's just I was just out there all on natural ability. And then when I got to Buffalo, it was really hard. Well, my first year in Buffalo, I had when I was on practice squad, I had got hurt with an AC joint, and that slowed down my process on getting on an active roster. And then my second year when I came back, we had coaches change as far as all the coaches was different except for the special teams coach, and the thing was, new defense, trying to learn a new defense, and having a lack of experience on learning the outdoor professional playbook I feel like, was my biggest downfall. And I was really so caught on trying to get onto the defense, and then not knowing me as a young guy, the special teams was my key to making the team. And I say I really ain't do too well on special teams, but I lived and I learned, and I don't have no regrets because I made it to the NFL. It was one of the stepping stones I wanted to do. So I pray that I get back in there because now I know what it takes and I know what I need to do to stay on the team. And when I went to Baltimore, I had a coach named Coach Walker.
Mm-hmm.
One of the greatest DBs coach I ever had, one of the greatest defensive coordinators I ever had, and he really broke down the arena football game for me. And if you could tell from Cleveland to Baltimore, I was a totally different player, not just athletically, but mentally. You'll be able to tell I was a totally different player on the type of plays that I used to make, and just the things that I was able to do. And I feel like that was the biggest between Cleveland and Baltimore, was me actually knowing the game, not just out there off of raw talent and out there making plays, actually knowing what's going on, how they're going to attack me, and being able to make plays. That was about it.
Well, yeah, with the position changes, I imagine you definitely would have to take a bit more to start rolling into not just obviously talent, but then the mechanics and understanding of it too. So yeah. I can completely understand that. And obviously, arena football is great leagues, at least for the arena indoor scene for passing in particular, and understanding some of the concepts there, I imagine. And you took those to the Alliance of American Football. Now, you were played on the Birmingham Iron. You did have a decent role as defensive back there. Yep. You're a consistent contributor on there as well. When I bring up the Alliance of American Football, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? I know a lot of people have words on the league at this point. It's been a year, but I mean, what comes to mind when the league's name is brought up? Whenever you hear it,
they shut down on us.
Well,
basically, okay. They kicked us to the curb, man. That was like one of the toughest breakups that I feel like I've had with anything. And it was going really good. Last game we just made the playoffs, and then next day they're saying we shut down, and I honestly felt like it was a good league in the making, and it was a good league to me, and I feel like the thing I missed the most is the brothers that I was on the team with, being able to build relationships with different people from different backgrounds, and being able to just do what you love. Mm-hmm. And that's all I have to say about the AAF, and they shut down on us, man. That's it.
Yeah, fair enough. Now, It's funny. I've mentioned moving around. What did it take to move down to Birmingham for you?
Honestly, it didn't take a lot because when I first went down there, I don't think a lot of people know this here, but we did camp in San Antonio, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. And honestly, they had cut me, and they brought me back the first game, 2 days before the first game of the season. Mm-hmm. And I had went down there by myself because, we was living in Maryland or whatnot, after the arena season. And I went down there by myself, and they bought me a plane ticket and everything, brought me back down there. Didn't play the first game, but after that I was rolling. And that's when my lady and my son had came, I think probably a couple weeks later. And they had moved down with me, and then they stayed until the shutdown, and that's when we moved back to Baltimore. Came back to Baltimore. Yeah.
Hey, worked out for the best after all, at least. Even
it worked out, man. It's all God's timing, man. God's good. So
understand. What's your favorite memory of the Birmingham community, or any home games that you played over there at, say, Legion Field?
Memories. Well, I'm gonna be honest with you. Where we played at was not the best area. We was inside the ghetto.
Oh.
But we barely was like out there in that community, and just being able to strap up with your brothers and being able to practice and be with your brothers every day. The games that I've made an impact on, as far as coming in, playing my role at a high level. I was more like a second and long, third down type of guy who would come in the dime package and just making a play for my team. Get the team hyped. Come in, make a big hit or whatnot, and just embracing the moments every time I was able to step on the field, because like I said before, I was cut. And I was, fortunate enough to get back on the same team that I was on. So it was just like, you turn off the switch, you can turn back on the switch for me. So, that's what it was for me. And that's what I enjoyed the most, being able to come back, being with the guys that I was grinding with during camp, and be able to come back and, earn their trust again and show them the type of guy that I was.
Yeah. Well, and you got more tape for yourself as well, at least. Again, the league didn't end exactly on the best terms, and I know many of us, fan-wise, player-wise, that I've talked to, not exactly have been the best kindest words, but I understand why. And, of course, you did go back to Baltimore, as you mentioned. And then, well, here we are. We arrive at your process getting into the XFL, which I haven't had the chance to really touch on this, but was there any difference with the XFL training camp compared to, say, other ones that you've had, like in the NFL or like the AAF? What was the draft process like for you, maybe in particular?
I'm gonna be honest. I didn't really think I was going to get drafted, only because during all the showcases and things I was in the arena season, so everybody was always asking me, was I going to any other showcase, and I'm like, no, I feel confident enough in the film that I was putting up, and I was confident enough in my AAF film, because, a lot of the coaches was in that league also. So, I was real confident within myself, and, I was having a great season in Baltimore. So, my agent was using that film, sending it over to coaches, sending it over to owners and things like that. So the training camp was a grind, it was a real grind. It's no different than an NFL training camp. It's all the same, in my opinion. It was a professional training camp, and like I said before, you just gotta keep growing day by day. Can't take no steps back. Can't look back. You just gotta keep pushing forward. No matter how you feeling, even if you're sore, you got any tweaks, you gotta get through it. And I enjoyed the process, and I say all the training camps was the same. I didn't really get to finish the AAF training camp. I was there for like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and they let me go. So as far as NFL and XFL, to me, it's the same type of process, the same type of approach you have to take. Just get better day by day, and just be a quick, fast learner.
Fair enough. Was there any adjustment that you needed for some of the newer rules? I know you were involved on the special team side, of course, so obviously there was that new kickoff, which we'll touch on, of course, the biggest play you were involved in particular. But just like, I guess, adjustment, because you're again another year, another or same year but different spring league, so you're adjusting to new rules and innovations to the game. What parts of at least getting into those initial practices, maybe those scrimmages over in Houston, did you notice or have to change to?
I feel like the toughest special teams was kick return, only because like you can't go further than 5 yards back to catch your block. So it's like that was the hardest for me to adjust to. Kickoff, I'm fast, shifty guy, so I'm just running around people. Punt and punt return was the same, and it wasn't too much different other than the kick return. Like I actually liked it because it's a collision, but it's not a collision where there's two people running like 100 miles per hour at each other, running full speed, trying to knock each other in the dirt. So special teams was fun, and I was on every one, so it was enjoyable. So I feel like that was the difference as far as from the regular one, and then going to XFL. So it was cool.
Okay, cool. I dig. I don't know. I might add to that later. Anyway, all right. So this is the one I've been wanting to ask, and of course, people always. This is one of the highlight plays of the season. It's week 3, the first home opening game in St. Louis. You're playing the New York Guardians. Your teammate Keith Murphy receives the ball, and it turns into a reverse that you end up taking yourself. You go down the right side of the field, running along the sideline, and you just make it to the end zone as you're getting tackled in. You score the first ever XFL, at least the relaunch, that is, kick return touchdown with the new format. Articles are made and published about how this is innovational, and this could, of course, be in the NFL. Before this ever happens, you already mentioned that you were adjusting to, of course, the kick returns themselves. At what point did the coaching staff, at least Jonathan Hayes and his coaching staff, and their special teams unit, decide that we're going to at least try and attempt a reverse on this play? Or when did you first practice it?
It was right after who did we play the second week? Houston. That the next week we came in, we was in special team meeting, and the coach said, "Joe Powell, we got something special for you." And I'm like, "Okay, what could this be?" Because I was a special teams captain, so I didn't know what to expect. And when they put it in, everybody was shocked. Everybody was like, "Whoa." A lot of people jokingly saying, "You're not going to score," but me, in my mind and in my head, I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to score on this," because a lot of people is not thinking about that. So it was like, when they put it in, I'm gonna be totally honest with you, only 3 people in that building believed, and that was me, Trevon Reed, which was the DB there, and Coach Crocker. And all week I've been telling people I'm gonna score, and a lot of people, didn't believe me. So when the play actually, like, we could have ran it like the first 2 kickoffs, but I don't think they wanted to do it. So the third one, they said, "All right, here we go. We want to run it because we needed a spark." And when the ball was kicked, I'm like, "Okay, here go the moment." I got instantly nervous, and once I seen him catch the ball, I sat there for like 2 seconds, and then that's when I ran back. And once he pitched the ball, I looked and I said, "It's green all in front of me." And it was my guy, Ryan White. He was blocking one guy, and I was like, "This is the only guy I got to make miss, and after that, I'm going to score." And once I seen him put the block on him, and I made the cut, and I just was looking at the end zone and was like, "I just got to get here." And that's how it went.
And obviously, it's in the history books as
Right.
as we've seen. It still is played to this day. I mean, we just had another higher end podcast. I'm trying to remember today on Twitter that just posted that video. Same thing, getting already several thousand views. It's one of the most recognizable XFL plays. I'm going to give you a personal story here on that play. I was at that home game, and I kid you not, I was with my dad. And I was like, "Man, I got to go like get some food or something at the concession." So we went around and we went and bought some merch. Just as I was waiting to buy a Battlehawks like t-shirt, that play goes on the screens. I'm like, I don't know what just happened, but I mean, everyone's pretty happy. And sure enough, I come in, I look at go on Twitter. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me! I went out to get a T-shirt and I missed this, and
right.
you don't just miss stuff like that. But man, I still rave about the St. Louis home opener just for how amazing it was. And as a player, I have to ask, is St. Louis a football city? Can we confirm that?
Oh, for sure.
There we go.
That's the best stadium I've been in. Like NFL too. Like I have never been in front of a crowd that's electric all game. Like it was so loud whenever they cheered. It was, they always were supportive no matter what was going on. They never booed, even if we were down or not looking the best. That was, and then, when we get off the bus to come in, it was just fans lined up everywhere. It was like a walk path that we had to walk down in between fans. It was just amazing. St. Louis was hands down the best city as far as in the XFL, as far as fans is hands down.
I love the experience myself too. I can't wait to go back. Mostly when that happens. It's not even a question of if. It's going to be when at this point. We're just obviously we're all waiting to see the timeline for it. Now yourself, you signed on, and this is all of course with COVID in mind, as of course the XFL did have to shutter its doors, a large part due to the season being potentially affected to COVID-19. But you signed on with the CFL's Hamilton Tiger Cats, and I understand you're currently signed on with them. Is that correct?
Correct. That is correct.
So I talked with actually a former CFL player as of a few weeks ago, Fabian Guerra, who was on the Montreal Alouettes. That was my last interview. He did opt out. I would like to ask you, because I haven't seen that you've opted out. What was your reasoning for, at least right now, continuing your contract with the Tiger Cats?
Just for the simple fact that right now, that's my only opportunity as far as with football. Don't know what's going to happen with the NFL. So, me being able to still be on contract with those guys lets me know for 2021 I have somebody that I will be playing for, because I was on a 2-year deal. Mm-hmm. I have a credited season for this year, so I have a 1 year next year. Instead of, if I opt out and then nothing happens for me as far as with football, and then next year it'll be like, okay, well, we don't want to bring it back. There's a lot of things that could go on with that. So, I talked with my agent the other day about it, and we felt like it was best that we just stayed in contracts, because, I have something to lean on as far as, being on someone's contract. And that was just the biggest thing, Don't nobody know what's going to go on for next year. We don't know how this COVID thing is going to go pan out. And, if CFL do play, I'll be with Hamilton Tiger Cats. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. You guys just got to hold out until, I imagine, next summer will probably be, or at least spring, for the training camp portion for yourself.
Right.
Which I do have to ask, because you did sign on very, very recently after you had been released, or after all players have been released from their XFL contracts. How far into the process of adjusting to the CFL form of play were you before the league kind of said we need to put this on pause?
I mean, honestly, like after the XFL had canceled, I really didn't think I was going to get another shot of football this past year, only because, I didn't play as much on defense. I mean, I played a lot on special teams, but it was not like a lot of film that I had for myself as far as being able to get on the NFL roster. And I didn't think I was going to just wind up on a CFL team. It was just my agent called me one day and said, Hamilton Tiger Cats want to sign you to a contract. No workout, they want to sign you. And I was shocked, because it's like, wow, because, that was my second option as far as if you know, if I don't make it in the NFL after my first time being in there, CFL is going to be my next option anyway. So, yeah, that was just the process as far as getting to the Tiger Cats. I feel like it was just all off of my agent working for me, and just throwing my name out there to the team, throwing my film out there on whatever film he had from me, and you know, just taking me to the next step.
Not bad. I assume you plan on moving to Canada for next year?
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. Me and my lady was looking for places up there these past couple months, and I'm trying to see, you know, where we'll be able to live, where we'll be able to stay. We all got our passports, so, you know, just looking forward to 2021, see what it has in store for everyone.
Hey, I'm just looking forward to a normal football season anymore for any of these leagues. And I mean, I'm more interested in CFL, so I'll be, of course, following you next year and the Tiger Cats when you guys hit the field. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Joe, again, I want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate you sharing your story, you know, and talking just any of the places you've been. Like I said, it's amazing how much you've traveled in such a short time and how many leagues you've been in such a quick span, and how you built yourself from just a junior college level all the way up to, you know, you've been to the NFL, you've been to these other leagues, so it's impressive. Before we part ways for this evening, you have anything to say? I'll give you a minute here. You know, if you want to promote maybe social media, just say, you know, hi to the family or any of your fans that you have had in any leagues you've been. You know, just a little bit of time for yourself here on this podcast for anything you want to discuss.
I really ain't got too much to say. I just want to thank every opportunity that I've been presented as far as with these pro teams and organizations. And I just want to thank everyone that believed in me. Also, I want to thank God for, you know, giving me the opportunity to do what I love, and keeping me safe and sound, and keeping my family safe and sound. And I just pray that everyone just get through the pandemic and stay safe, and just be blessed and humble. You know, that's really about it, man. I appreciate you having me on your show too.
Hey, it's no problem. I'm glad that we had this discussion. I've been looking to try and hook up with you, and I'm glad that we got this done. It's been a pleasure, Joe. I thank you very much. And you know, be sure to follow Joe if you can. I know you have a Twitter, right? What's your Twitter handle?
I don't have Twitter.
Oh, you do not have Twitter?
I have Facebook and Instagram.
Okay. I misread. It must have been a different Joe Powell that I must have found on Twitter. So I will.
It might be an old page. I don't know. I haven't had Twitter in like years.
Okay.
Years.
Hey, fair enough. Yeah, look for him up on especially Facebook and Instagram. You can find him on there. Otherwise, you know, just keep an eye out. He'll be on the Hamilton Tiger Cats, as you heard, come 2021. So there are places you can watch CFL football, and especially Hamilton as well when we get to that point. And then just for myself, you know, as you may know, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all at ZK Podcast for any, of course, updates and future podcasts like we are doing right now. And honestly, this is going to be about it for the show. Again, Joe, thank you for coming on. Much appreciated. Hopefully maybe we can even hook up again in the future. I'd love to hear some stories of your CFL venture as well. You know, in particular, I just want to get to know more about the CFL in general too. So should be fun.
Yes, sir.
But until next time, guys, thanks for tuning in. We both appreciate it, and stay tuned.